Morning all. Welcome to a news of the day type video. News of the week, I guess, kind of thing. I haven't done a news of the day video in a few days now. And, things are still in limbo. And it's getting interesting that we're 3.5 weeks into limbo. And there's those who are going, yeah, I've given up hope. And there are others going, we'll just wait. And the NHL still taking the we'll just wait approach. Now, they had a meeting on the phone yesterday with the very divisive President of the United States, Donald Trump. And he basically said, I want to see sports back sooner rather than later. But he also said August or September, which sounds like later to some. And again, because we don't know what's going to happen, there's a medical treatment in the Seattle area that's showing some signs of positivity that's going into stage 2. And if that works, if that drug works as a mitigation and if it's saving lives, if that's how it turns out, then that's huge. So there are definitely bright spots. So when you're looking at all these models and going, oh man, this is going to go on forever, none of those models take into account the idea that these drug trials could work and we could see some kind of a mitigation that could make things better and definitely lower mortality rates. So do not, if you're watching this, do not lose all hope. Don't. Just don't. As easy as it is right now, don't. Now, after the conference call, nothing's changed. The NHL's not changing their minds on anything. They're like, okay, well, that was fine. Meeting with 12 different sports commissioners. Let's get sports going. From the sounds of it, and again, I wasn't on the call or anything, but from the sounds of it, he just wants to make sure that the NFL season starts on time. He's a big football fan. So it would make sense if he wants to see the NFL season start on time. Meanwhile, Major League Baseball's like, okay, so we're not having a year this season. That's quite possible. When you look at the timelines, I don't know how you have a baseball season at all. So, I can understand how the NHL might be able to squash something in. And again, it would have to be like a single city tournament, no fans in attendance kind of thing. But there are those in the media that are becoming very vocal about losing hope, and that's them, and that's fine for them and for me until I officially hear it from the NHL. And again, if the NHL officially does say, well, that's it, we're going to cancel it, fine. But the fact that they've delayed everything, so if they were of the mind that they're just going to cancel everything, then they wouldn't be delaying the draft. They wouldn't be delaying free agency. They wouldn't be delaying the combine. They'd be changing how the combine works. They'd be saying the draft will take place on this date. It won't be in any kind of an arena, but we'll do it via the phone, teleconference, and free agency still on July 1st. So there's no reason to delay those things unless they're still trying to bring something back, something along those lines. So I know the curve has been somewhat flattened here in BC, at least over the last few days. We are hoping that it works. We are very hopeful, fingers crossed. My wife is still producing masks all day. So she gets up, she makes masks, and she goes to sleep. She gets up, she makes masks. And thankfully, we've had a lot of fabric for that. And the one case yesterday of somebody who picked up masks dropping off fabric for her as well to help her make more. So, there are positives. If we look around, there are positives. So, I also wanted to touch on what happened on Friday, although I think it's been blown up really, really big. Keandre Miller was throwing some racial slurs during a Zoom call. The reason I didn't make like a big production of it, and I'm not going to make a big production of it here, it's not the first time that's happened on a Zoom call in the last week that I've heard of. That happened as well it was, I believe, a homeschooling situation where there were a bunch of kids on there and somebody jumped in and started throwing the N-word around like crazy. Could be the same person. Could just be somebody who heard about that incident. That's great. Or it could just be that people in general are jerks when they're anonymous on the internet. So I understand that this has been blown up and that there's people getting really upset, but I'm not making any excuse, but it's happening. This is one of the reasons why with Zoom they have some serious security holes they've got to close up here, because that's just unacceptable. And yeah, that's kind of what happens with the internet. The internet is truly a terrible place in some areas, and in that area it definitely is. And I don't understand what people get out of that. I really, really don't. But then again, I might just be upset because I got blown up playing GTA last night, which of course I broadcast on the the entertainment guy yesterday. I don't understand. I'm just driving around the city. Why are you blowing me up? I don't for $1,000, really? For $1,000 bounty? Anyways, so there's obviously gonna, and I've heard when I've played online on GT, I've heard people say absolutely horrible things to one. It's just it's the internet. The internet brings out the absolute worst at times. So to Keandre Miller, I really hope that it's a Zoom call is all that he sees in terms of this kind of ugly behavior, and that this doesn't happen during NHL games in Madison Square Garden or anywhere else where he starts getting that kind of crap thrown at him, because that's just, it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. I'm just saying this is exposing a flaw in Zoom as much as it's exposing that people are generally pricks if given the chance to hide behind anonymity. All right, that aside, Seth Jones has skated. First time since February 8th. So while we're going through this, a lot of guys are getting healthy, and they're saying, yeah, he could probably play. If we did have playoffs, it probably no problem. So, if they figure out a way to make things work, and again, it depends on where you're going to go. If you're going to... So here's the thing. If the NHL is going to say, all right, we're not starting anything up until all 30 teams can have their buildings, and all of them can have fans in attendance, oh, yeah, this is going to go on forever. But to me, I'm thinking more along the lines of, hey, if they want to just put something on TV, if they're okay with not having fans in attendance, think like WWE with the Performance Center. If they're okay with that, then, they can figure something out. And again, it's tricky. I understand that right now it's impossible, but we don't know what's coming months down the road. We know that the models have whatever, but even the experts who use those models say these models are in flux. I watch the news and listen to this, and they always say, well, the models can change. Models have changed since this whole thing started. Good news. Thomas Grace put out a message on Instagram basically saying if you're going to bed hungry tonight, don't do that. If you need food and supplies at your home, send me a PM. I'll do what I can. This is why hockey players are the most awesome athletes in the world, in my eyes. And I know there are athletes in other sports doing great things, but that's just fantastic. And that's after Semyon Varlamov had already donated 3,095 masks. So when you look at the New York Islanders right now, their goaltending looks pretty good. And we haven't played a game in weeks, but right now their goaltending looks pretty darn solid. You have one saying, hey, PM me and I'll help you out. And that's where I come back to people being jerks on the internet. Sadly, there are people who will take advantage of that. I know that from instances, even just on this channel, where I had giveaways, and then I would have a message sent by somebody else pretending they were the person that won the giveaway. And so I would send the product to the wrong person, and then it just sort of blows up. And it's just, that's where I learned pretty quick, man, people on the internet are just kind of jerks, aren't they? Wow, that takes some guts. I have your address. So, it's not smart. It's not the smartest way to steal something, to give somebody your home address. Yeah, send it to me. Now I know that home address belongs to a lying jerk. So, there's that, right? I didn't say they're all smart, just that, they're not necessarily great people, is what I've been saying. San Jose, Doug Wilson was asked, and he's pretty sure. It sounds like Bob Boughner likely returns as coach next year. So no matter what happens, whether we do or don't have some kind of a playoff, an expanded playoff, or if we just play it out on NHL 20, all NHL games from now on will be played on the internet, and all these players will have to play themselves, and if they lose, well, they can only blame themselves. It's not the EA server's fault that San Jose got frozen out in the second half of the third period and couldn't play, so they lost 12-1. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that would happen. EA's servers can be kind of, and I would imagine right now their servers are pretty darn busy with everybody not having hockey to watch. So Bugner's probably back. Tomas Hertl is ahead of schedule with his injury, so there was talk about how long this could take, and apparently his rehab's going a lot better than they'd expected. So we could see him back a lot sooner than we'd expected as well. On the Washington front, do you want some more good news? Good. So the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and you have to think right now, Make-A-Wish kids who already have a really tough time, they're already going to be immunocompromised, and this is going to be a really stressful time for them. Tom Wilson is stepping in and helping out however he can. So delivering to kids who are housebound, and that kind of thing. And he's doing his best to try to cheer these kids up, who already had things stressful as it was before the entire world went and were closed. So kudos to Tom Wilson once again proving that even those that on the ice we all get mad at and we gnash our teeth at how horrible they are to everybody else, off the ice, hockey players are pretty good people. It's been said of Marchand for years. I have no gripe with Marchand off the ice, and his Twitter game is absolutely fantastic. But, Wilson as well. Wilson, people might get mad at some of the hits he throws, but right here, pretty good on him for doing this. Ron Francis was asked about the whole naming process with Seattle. He says it's going to happen sooner rather than later. They're working on logos and trademarks. Do you get the feeling that they're not working on anything and they're just stalling? Like maybe they haven't even started the process. Like, oh yeah, oh the name. Oh, it's a really big process. Oh, you're not going to believe the name when it comes out. It's so good. Trademarks. Right, we got trademarks and copyrights, and the ink we're using is only from the Serengeti, so we have to actually right now we can't go to the Serengeti, and we can't order it in. There's some kind of mix up with imports, and it's going to be so awesome. What color is it? Awesome color. It's going to be so good. It's just so... You're not going to believe how great this name is when it comes out. I tell you. It's going to be great. So, yeah, sure, Ron. Whatever. And cities are just making it official what we all know. That they're canceling all public events through June 30th. It'd be like me coming out in a video and going, yeah, so I'm not dating Scarlett Johansson, just in case you've heard. Yeah, everybody knows. We already knew that there weren't going to be public events until at least the end of June. So they're just telling us what we already knew. And when they're canceling stuff and when they're shutting stuff down. Well, I've been housebound it'll be 4 weeks on Wednesday. So, yeah. I'm official. We're ordering in our groceries now. So that's... I got that all straightened out this morning, so from here going forward, we're ordering in our groceries. And so them announcing that public events will be canceled in Calgary, and I know Toronto's announced this, and there's other cities as well. Well, yeah, we know this, and I'm quite hopeful with Canada that we're getting this done the right way, and that we are doing our best with flattening the curve. I know for people south of the border, I know how things look right now, and I know how scary it is. The only advice I can give is just to stay home as much as you can, if you can. And for states that don't have those stay-at-home orders, I've got to think they're coming. But again, that's... It all gets kind of tricky from there, and, the graphs are kind of scary things. In Europe, it looks like things are starting to flatten out depending on the country. There have been debates over which countries are lying and which ones are telling the truth. And here's the thing. I don't really trust politics at the best of times. So am I going to trust it right now? Probably not. But, the general numbers are still kind of scary stuff. So stay safe wherever you're at. Do your best to stay home where you can. And I will be here reporting on things as they happen to the ever-dwindling audience that is out there. As again, I understand people are more concerned with everything else that's going on. I have my job to do, so I get up every day and do that. And I will be here providing that for people who stick around. It feels like now we're back to just the core audience. One thing that YouTube let me know was that I wasn't getting views from non-subscribers anymore. That it's just like, yeah, your non-subscriber numbers are really low. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, because people aren't just generally fumbling around looking for hockey content. So I will be here for those people who do fumble around looking for hockey content. I will be providing plenty today as well. And thank you guys so much for all your support along the way. We will get through this. As stressful as it gets, and I have had, like last night, I was a basket case for like an hour and a half, because this just eventually it's too much. So again, we're all kind of going through it. And hey, if you are browsing your way through, and if you're one of the few that YouTube's telling me doesn't exist, go ahead and hit like and subscribe just to kind of prove YouTube wrong. And if it could stop chastising me right now, that'd be awesome. Where it's telling me your views are down, your revenue's down, your subscribers are down. Like, it's telling me all the stuff, and I'm like, yeah, thanks. Can you stop? And I've actually gone through the app to try to, like, can you stop sending me these? No, it's not gonna. It's built in. There's no way to actually stop getting these notices. Awesome. So, and I only get that on the bigger channel. On my second channel, I don't get those notices. So on the second channel, they're like, we don't care. You're fine. It only gives me raw kind of comments when view counts go up, like they did after the channel started getting more videos over the last month, because of course there's no hockey on, so I've been putting a lot more content on that channel. Then it's like, hey, look, you're getting all kinds of, but it doesn't tell me off when the actual numbers are down, because that one doesn't generate enough revenue. So it's like, just like, okay, well, we don't care about that. It's weird. It's a whole weird ecosystem. But hey, we'll all get through this together somehow, right? All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everybody's safe out there, and I will talk to you again soon.